My best friend from high school hand painted those,
Oh, sweet.
which makes them like,
That's even more precious, yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is. And you know, you gotta wonder what's Spencer thinking. You know, you got, this DD, optimistic, bright-eyed. He's like, man, this is hard. She's like, oh, come on, guys. Come on, let's be here. A little help.
I know it is. It's like a progression of like optimism to fuck.
Yeah, come on, seriously. I'm serious about helping you. I'm serious about getting your practice to the next level. If you're serious about success, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That was pretty good. Everything in life is what we make of it. So we're going to talk today a little bit about purpose. We're talking about chiropractic. I'll share with you my purpose. And some of y'all may have the same purpose, some of y'all may not. But as long as you're thinking, we have to define as chiropractors what we do. If we're going to be successful, when everyone has a different idea of what success is. A little background on me. I've been in the non-therapeutic model of chiropractic since about 1998. I've seen a lot of people struggle. I've seen a lot of people go through hard times. I've struggled tremendously. Been through a lot of hard times. I've seen good chiropractors get out of the profession because they couldn't make the living, because they were mad, they were angry, they were frustrated, they felt deceived, and they didn't know how to make it work. I know that there are chiropractors right now in this room that are successful in spite of not knowing how to totally make this work. I empathize because I've been there. So at this point in my career, at this point in my life, I love being a straight chiropractor. I've been a leader in the straight, just about every straight organization that exists in the profession. From the FSCO to Delta Sigma Chi fraternity, and now the Chiropractic Trust. I do it because, yeah, I'm a good leader, and what do leaders do? Leaders create breakthroughs, and leaders bring out the best in other people, and I'm around some really great people, and watching them shine and be the best that they can be makes me extremely happy. Seeing chiropractic successful makes me very happy. The non-therapeutic model is my love. We'll go into that in a moment. That's where I help chiropractors. Is it the only way to practice? No. But when we look at chiropractic, we ultimately have two models. One model is the therapeutic model. You want to practice in that way, that's fine. That's chiropractic as a treatment for any specific symptom, condition, or its cause by use of chiropractic and any other type of therapy. It's well within the state law to do so, and that's fine if people want to do that. I choose not to do that. And we'll go into why. Anybody who does practice that way, I'm total live and let live, have a great life, do your thing. We're going to look at another part of the profession tonight that I would love to share with each of you. It is called the non-therapeutic model. Every chiropractor that practices has got to define how they practice in their office. If you want to be successful, if you want to have a scope of practice period, you've got to define what you do. And one of the questions that I frequently ask chiropractors when they ask for my help, well, how do you define chiropractic in your office? If I'm calling a chiropractor that I don't know because somebody in my practice is moving somewhere, I'll ask them, how do you define chiropractic in their office? Sadly, I usually don't get a very well thought out answer. People can feel it, but they have yet in their career, whether they've been in practice for 1 year or 30 years, put that feeling into words. And I'm sure a lot of you have read the book Pitch Anything, which was a really great book, right? And it talks about how people's minds work. Now, a lot of times when people, or how the book states, that you have basically 3 levels of the brain. You have the croc brain, which is really in with the midbrain, and that is the area that we experience emotion and decision making. Then you have the neocortex, which is the higher levels of logic and reasoning. When people make a decision, they make it based on emotions, different types of emotions, how they feel about you. Is there cognitive dissonance? We'll get into that later. Do they get a good feeling or a bad feeling? And then after they make that decision based on emotion, they go to that higher level of the neocortex to justify the decision that they made, you see. So understand, we're going to go into different parts of the brain here, okay? Simply put, if you don't define what you do, you are going to have a major liability on your hands. So people do things because it feels right. For example, you're in love with somebody. You're in love with somebody, and I ask you, why, Jen, do you love that person? It's going to be very hard for you to put that into words because the place that you feel emotion is not in the same place in your brain that you have language and logic. You have to say, Mark, I'll get back with you on that, but I'm going to come up with a really great list, you know? And that's okay, right? Because that's how our brain, that's how our mind works. So there's a lot of chiropractors who practice in a way that feels right, but they have yet to utilize that higher neocortex for the philosophy and the words of why they do what they do. Now, words mean nothing in our lives until we give them emotions. Once a word has emotion, it's charged, it's powerful. That can be good or that can be bad. If you ever used a word or said something to somebody that you wanted it to be a very positive compliment, and then they come back and they snap at you, hey, you know, how could you possibly say that? They had a different emotional attachment to that word than you did. And if you understand that, one, it helps you to take things less personal. Second, it helps you to change things, and sometimes even on the fly, to develop a rapport with that person. And a rapport is just a basic level of trust and comfort with another person. We'll go into that later with nonverbal body language. So at any rate, I want each and every one of you to think how you define chiropractic in your office. Me personally, I do not wish to practice to the extent of the law that Mississippi allows. Each state makes their own laws. CCE does not do it, the schools do not do it. Every state is sovereign, and every state has a different definition of chiropractic and different state law. If you want to know what your state law is, and if you're congruent with that, the best thing you can do is hire a lawyer to interpret that law for you. Let them know how you practice, and ask them to interpret the law, pay them for their service, and they will let you know, okay, this is what your law states, and this is what is required of you. And it's a good investment, and that's what I think. Now, being that I don't want to practice within the scope of the law, not the scope of the law, to the extreme and extent of the law, I want to practice in one area within that scope, a very simple area. And we're going to get into that right now. In my office, I define chiropractic as the analysis and the facilitation of the correction of vertebral subluxations because they, in and of themselves, are detrimental to the expression of innate intelligence. Chiropractic is all education toward that objective, and chiropractic is nothing else. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. It's the best definition that I've ever heard. Stevenson's definition has too many questions for me. I'm sure we are all familiar with R.W. Stevenson, who wrote Volume 14, and they defined chiropractic in 1927 as chiropractic is a philosophy, science, and art of things natural, a system of adjusting the segments of the spinal column by hand only for the correction of the cause of disease. Well, there are things I don't understand. And one of the things I don't understand is what is things natural? Okay, and second, hand only, I don't think that's necessary. I think you can be a fantastic chiropractor if you use an instrument. And then third, disease, B.J. Palmer did use interchangeably with disease, and that is confusing. So that definition, for me, in regards to defining chiropractic, had some holes in it. I was fortunate to be around some friends in the early 2000s, I believe, and we were all a member of a group called the FSCO, and friends like Reggie Gold and Joe D'Onofrio and Joe Strauss and Jim Healy, Mark Osteen, some brilliant minds, and I was fortunate enough to be in the room as we came up with definition that ultimately was used for the organization that we were in, and we use today with the Chiropractic Trust. This is what I use in my office. Now, we have a definition. That definition gives me purpose. I don't want to do everything. I want to do one thing. And that's find vertebral subluxations and help the body correct them. What is a vertebral subluxation? Well, I'm going to go with Stevenson's on this one. I love the definition in Stevenson's. That a vertebral subluxation is a condition of a vertebra which is lost its proper juxtaposition with the one above, the one below, or both, to an extent less than a dislocation, which occludes the foramen, impinges nerves, and interferes with the transmission of mental impulse. Hugely ahead of its time. The whole book actually is ahead of its time. So now we look at vertebral subluxations. a very definite entity that has 4 components. There is a misalignment of a vertebrae, there's an occlusion of a foramen, there's some form of nerve interference, and there's decreased mental impulse. Those are the 4 points to a vertebral subluxation. This is the entity that I work with. The only entity that I work with as a chiropractor. Why? Because vertebral subluxations are unbelievably bad. And the correction is unbelievably good. Let me ask you all a question. Is a vertebral subluxation the only thing that can go wrong within the body?
Of course not.
Okay. Is the vertebral subluxation the only thing that can cause a problem?
No.
No?
Okay. Does everybody get well under chiropractic? Does every condition go away?
No.
Okay. That's great. Well, we would all agree. So can we honestly say that chiropractic gets sick people well and put a period after that?
No.
Okay, that's okay. And say that without apology. Because what that does, it takes the weight off your shoulders that I had on mine when I graduated Palmer in 1993. Because if somebody came and saw you and they didn't get well, it was your fault. Who in the world would want to practice that way? Now, I love B.J. Palmer. But if you read his books and you read volume 18, there's 3,500 diseases that went away because they were under his care, and nobody ever died. Nobody ever went away because something didn't go away. Everything went away. Okay, I understand. I love BJ, and I do. Let's not put ourselves under that type of stress, because now you're on an emotional roller coaster. Okay, this condition went away, that condition went away. Today's a good day. And then this condition didn't go away. I am horrible. I am not good at what I do. And now this person's getting on to me because the last time they came in, their back pain cleared up in 2 visits, and now they came in, 7 years later, living with vertebral subluxations, and they're mad because there's the 3rd visit and they still feel pain. I've been on that emotional roller coaster. I don't want you on that. And we don't take care of our families that way, do we? So what if we said this? Vertebral subluxations are always bad. Would anybody disagree with that?
No.
It's that simple. And what if we said this? They're bad because they cause damage throughout the body, because they interfere with the expression of innate intelligence. Could we live with that? Is that a bad thing? To interfere with the expression of innate intelligence, is that bad?
It is.
No matter what, that's bad. And by correcting vertebral subluxations, by facilitating that correction, by analyzing the spine and helping the body make the adjustment so the vertebral subluxation is cleared out, is that always a good thing?
Always.
Always. And that always, does that always make the body function better? Yes or no?
Always.
Always. It always makes the body, these are chiropractic absolutes. So let me ask you guys this question. What profession in this world, on God's great earth, is specifically trained at finding vertebral subluxations and assisting the body in their correction? Name one profession that does that.
Chiropractic.
Does any other profession do that?
No.
No.
No, no.
Not at all.
There isn't one on the planet. There is no profession on the planet that's trained the way that we are to find vertebral subluxations, know that they're there, and gently help the body assist in the correction, knowing that body's going to function better and stronger, and we did something to provide tremendous value to that person's life, improving the quality of their life. To me, that's so important, so unbelievably important. I can't imagine doing anything else. To add anything to that is to dilute the very service that is your uniqueness. Your uniqueness as a human being is your knowledge and ability to analyze a spine, find a vertebral subluxation, assist the body gently in its correction. Now let me ask you this. What causes a vertebral subluxation? When can a vertebral subluxation occur?
When the body's not adapting.
I love that. I love that. Let's dig a little bit deeper, because the very essence of the presence of a vertebral
External
subluxation
forces.
is lack of adaptation. We're onto something. Go ahead, Hooksy.
External forces overcome
Internal resistance forces.
Yes, preach
invasive
it.
forces overcome the internal resistive.
Yes, Stevenson, love it.
I
When
still
the
love it.
external invasionary forces overcome the internal resistive forces, a vertebral subluxation can occur. And we say a lot, thought, trauma, toxin, but is it possible that we could have other stresses that we never even thought about? Yes, so why limit it to 3? How often could a vertebral subluxation occur? Possibly. How often?
Quite often.
Exactly, but how often?
Every day.
Every day! A vertebral subluxation could possibly happen every day. Can you feel a vertebral subluxation? Do you know when you're subluxating? Shout it right out. Don't be shy. Shout it right out. Yes. Have confidence, because you got some good answers in there. Shout them right out. No, you cannot feel the vertebral subluxation. It has no clinical presentation whatsoever. The only way you know, or I know, if we're subluxated in the spinal column is to see a chiropractor. To get over to Bradley's or Jen's and lay down on the table like I did today and have my spine checked. It's the only way to know. So in a perfect world, how often could somebody go and see a chiropractor?
Every day.
Every day, that's right. Shout it right out. Every single day you could come and you could see a chiropractor. But here's what happened to our profession. We're embarrassed about that. We're ashamed. I don't want to make this a habit. Heck yeah, you do! Because let me tell you something. Everything is a habit. You are where you are right now because of your habits. When we look at the human body, there are 2 sides. One side is medicine and therapy. They're very good at what they do, and I'm glad they're around. They treat conditions and symptoms and their cause, and they deal with trauma and crisis service. Now I want to go on the other side. And this has to do with life, health, quality of living, success, wealth, relationships. These are the very tiny, small things that you do every day that ultimately shape your lives. And everybody does them. You got a good life, you're doing things like eating good, exercise, positive mental attitude, rest, and chiropractic. But you see, people don't know about number 5. Maybe that's what we should call this movement. We'll call it number 5, okay? Because people don't know about it. And we got to tell them about it. We got to tell them the truth from day one. And you know what we got to understand? That even though everybody wants it, or everyone needs it, I'm sorry, not everyone wants it. Not everybody is your target audience. And let me tell you, Jen, in this beautiful office, if you accept everyone who comes in to this from this door, you're going to be miserable. And you got no time to be miserable. It's not a good fit. We are far too happy to let anybody in our office who isn't a good fit stay. Why would you do that to them? And why would you do it to yourself? My marketing, my office, I have a system. And the system that I've come up with is the system that will benefit the people I take care of the most. I have really one goal in my office. I want to take care of everybody as if they're my family. That's all I want to do. And if people don't want that, I just want to come in one time and see what's going to happen. Okay, that's what this free consultation is for. But I want you to go home and think about it. I want you to go home and I want you to think good. And the question that I want you to ask yourself repeatedly over and over again is, do you want a better life? And I'm going to help get you there. If the answer is yes, through chiropractic, I'm going to help get you there. Let me tell you some things you already know. Chiropractic isn't a cure-all, and nothing's a cure-all. Don't apologize for that. You see, I'm going to say a word right now, and people are going to think, oh no, that's a curse word. You got to sell chiropractic. You got to sell it. B.J. Palmer knew that. I will sell, serve, save chiropractic if it takes me 20 lifetimes to do so. Oh, I don't want to sell chiropractic. Well, how do you expect to build a practice? What are you going to do if you're not selling chiropractic? How are you going to help people if you're not selling chiropractic? I got a question. And think about it. If you could make the decision for anybody who walked through that door to make chiropractic a regular habit for the rest of their life, would you do it? Yes, I love it. Yes, that's a good salesperson. The only way you're going to be good at selling chiropractic is if you would make that decision for them over and over again, because you know, A, that you're providing the highest standard possible. B, you're providing it at a reasonable cost. C, you're providing it with convenient hours. And D, you are absolutely sincere that you know you are bringing value to that person's life with a product that their life will change in a way that nothing else could possibly compare to. And shame on you if you wouldn't make that decision for them. I would. I'd make that decision in a second. You're going to trust me? Trust me. I won't let you down. Bottom line is this. We have been too timid with our delivery. We have been too timid and willing to change on our convictions of what we know is right. Don't do that. Live and let live. Anybody wants to practice any way they want to, that's fine. I tell people simply, hey, find a chiropractor you love. Please understand, I am not accountable for what goes on in another chiropractor's office. I'm accountable for what happens here. Judge us here by what we do here. If you had a great experience with the chiropractor you're seeing, fantastic. Keep going. If you moved out of town and you're here now, give us a shot. We sign people up for a month of care. Come in for the next 30 days as much as we tell them on the very first visit. In an ideal world, you come in here for the rest of your life, every single day. In a perfect world. All we try to do is make that ideal possible. I'm crazy, so don't have to do what I do. To my knowledge, I'm the only chiropractor in the world that goes 7 days a week after 23 years. I know I'm crazy. I know I'm psychotic. I've given up a lot to do what I do. I've struggled. I've had to deal with a lot of crazy stuff. There was a time when the FSCO broke up, and now it's the IFCO. And people like myself and Scott and Reggie Gold, who started the organization, we had to leave because it was no longer congruent with what Reggie had started. And there was quite a few of us, and it was a rough time. So when I realized the changes there, and also, there was Joe Strauss's Blue Books, fortunately, thank God, I saw a lot of good chiropractors become very angry and bitter. I saw a lot of good chiropractors in this model who were struggling to make it. Now, please keep in mind, when I was practicing in this way 20 years ago, I knew it was the right way to practice. I knew it was what the public needed and was in the best interest of the public because I was offering the same quality service that I was giving my own family. But I didn't know how to sell it. I didn't know how to explain it. Did I struggle? Was I laughed at by people in the profession and outside of the profession? Absolutely. Did I care? No, I didn't care because I knew it was right. I knew it was the right thing to do. 20 years later, yeah, we know how to sell. And there's a lot of people, I understand, afraid of selling, afraid of money. Money is wonderful. Make a ton of it. I want people here right now to make millions of it. And there are movies that I recommend. They're rough, but in regards to selling, I think that we have the best product in the world to sell, but we don't know how to sell it. I was talking to Sherman yesterday, and I'll ask you guys some questions. If you need to work on your teeth, where would you go?
Dentist.
That's because you're smart. If you needed work on your eyes, where would you go?
Ophthalmologist.
These are smart cats. These professions have done really great job in marketing. People don't know why they should go and see a chiropractor. We haven't marketed ourselves very well. So I wanted to change that. And I thought, in these movies that I watched, they're selling junk and garbage, but they're doing it with swag and style and charisma and charm. And they're selling junk. I'm like, let's take all those good things and not sell junk. Let's take all those good things and let's sell something fantastic, which is the correction of vertebral subluxation for a better expression of life. And let's go and say it on the street corner. I remember Zigapoo's talking. I want that person who's going to stand up on a box on the street corner and say, hey, everybody, y'all need chiropractic. Vertebral subluxations are destroying your lives and you don't even know it, but I know it. So come and see me and I'll show you how. So, 3 movies to watch. One movie, a little bit older. Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross. Yeah, write it down. Write this down. It's good stuff. Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross. Watch that movie. Then after you're done watching that movie, second movie you got to watch is Boiler Room. Yes. Then after you've done that, and they keep getting more and more horrible in their language, is Wolf of Wall Street.
That's a good one.
Yes. They know how to sell. They're selling junk. You're not selling junk, but you got to learn how to sell. We're not selling it right. We talk about branding. Dan Kennedy, I don't agree with anything he says on chiropractic, but the man knows direct marketing. Read some Dan Kennedy books. No BS direct marketing. No BS sales letter. But I don't like, because basically Dan, he consults with chiropractors, and basically the message is chiropractic itself isn't enough. So he basically markets the treatment of back pain along with weight loss. Okay, that way people get interested, market it more toward what people are looking for. I don't agree with that in the least, obviously, but I will take that a step further. I really, truly believe that people want to live better and stronger. Jen, do you do CrossFit?
Yes.
Why?
To get stronger, be healthier,
Absolutely.
be better at life.
Makes perfect sense to me. And I think people would do chiropractic the same way. They would look at chiropractic the same way. That's what I think. But we haven't marketed that way. Do you want to be stronger? Great! See your chiropractor. Do you want to live better? Great! See your chiropractor. Do you want to be successful? Excited?
Amen.
All right? That's what I'm talking about. That's the way we got to market it. So we've done it in the wrong way. And these movies will help. Dan Kennedy will help. But you got to know, what are you really selling? We help people become stronger through chiropractic. And when you're in the non-therapeutic model, you do it one way. The expert, bar none, at the correction of vertebral subluxations, because they in and of themselves are bad, and their correction is always good under every circumstance, all the time. And you know what? Hooksy told me this years ago. Chiropractic, all you got to do is show up. That's it. It's not like going to a gym. You just got to show up. It's one of the most powerful investments you will ever make, and it has no downside. See, I love a small group, because I'm going to tell you why. Because I expect you guys to go back to your practice and something great happen. If you do what I say, something great is going to happen. Boiler Room, Ben Affleck, when he's first pitching all the new recruits, and he tells them straight up, you will be a millionaire upon 3 years of employment at this firm. Make no mistake, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how many times over you will be a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. It's a weird thing to hear, isn't it? Let me tell you something, it's a weird thing to say. You want details? I drive a Ferrari, cabriolet. Now that you know it's true, this is what's required of you. You are required to work your butt off. You are required to get here early and stay here late. You are required to do whatever it takes. You want vacation? Go teach 3rd grade. So yeah, I mean, I took it to heart, and I have had my office go 24/7 for 5 years. Don't recommend you ever do that. Don't do that, actually. Have your hours. It doesn't even matter what your offices are. The only thing it has to be with the flow of your community. You got to know when most of the businesses go in and get off. And you got to work with that flow. I have never understood a chiropractor that works 9 to 5, but if that's your flow, if that's your city, good. Gene Flynn, he's on the beach, he gets there at 10, stays there to about 7. You need at least 2 peak hours in your day, in my opinion, that when people are the most convenient to come in. If you can get 2 peak hours a day, now here is where you will be limited. How many people can you see? How long does it take for you to see a person? If it takes you 5 minutes, then the maximum people that you can see is 60 divided by 5, which is
12.
Which is 12, thank you. Appreciate that, good math. 12 people an hour is your max. Be realistic. Me, I am really freaking good at what I do. I can see a person in less than a minute. They lay down on the table. I love these tables right over here. I have an Omni table with the foot pedals, but I love these tables right over here. Person comes in, lays down, sits down in the cervical chair, check their neck. You are not limited by time in regards to the quality of service. Chiropractors who are wary about the quality they're providing try to say, well, I'll spend more time with them to make people think they're getting a better service, but it's not how it works. You're here for one reason and one reason only, to have your life improved by chiropractic. Chiropractic is what you're investing in. You come in here, you lay down, you get your spine checked, and then you're out on your busy day. It's that simple. But how long does it take you to do it? You shouldn't be rushed, you shouldn't be panicked. So let me ask you this question. Does chiropractic fall into the realm of crisis or longevity care?
Longevity.
Yes. Did you say that? It's pretty great. So is it a bad thing if we get into crisis? If we're in a crisis mentality as a chiropractor, is that bad?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a hugely bad thing. That's exactly right. And if you're in a crisis state because of other reasons and you can't control that emotional state and change it, don't go to the office that day. And that's a good point. Can we change our emotional state? Yes. That's right. People who are high-level achievers in whatever field of endeavor, if they're leaders, a leader can change, and you have to be in your office. You can change your physiological state in the blink of an eye because you have to. You can change your focus. You know, we're going to get into that in a little bit, but think of it like this too, because this is an excellent point. I wasn't even going there, but you took us down a good road. You see it all the time. Husband and wife, they're married, they're arguing. No. The phone rings. Well, hello. You see, they just changed the speech. So you've got to be able to do that, and then you've got to be able to do that for other people too. People come into your office. I accept people wherever they're at. They come in, they're going to be mad, they just got a ticket. They're great. They're going to be mad, whatever happened. Or they're going to be happy, whatever happened. They come into my office, it's always going to be a great experience, probably the best experience of their day or their week, right? Because I chose that before they ever came in. I chose to accept them wherever they're at and improve the quality of their life as much as they'll let me. Sometimes it's just a consultation, that's all they let me do. And then you go back, think about it, and I'm waiting for you to sign up for the month. But as far as the physiology, the chiropractor, being the leader that they are, you have to be the authority in your office. Nobody can supersede your authority in your office because that is a liability. You're the person of absolute tyrant authority, and nobody can overcome that because that other person can't be trusted in your office to supersede your authority. It's that simple. And that's just how it works. And being there, you've got to always have a physiology that is positive, resourceful, and establishes rapport with everyone you meet. Because rapport is ultimately how the adjustment is ever going to occur. Does the chiropractor make the adjustment? How does the adjustment occur?
Innate intelligence.
That's exactly right. The best a chiropractor can hope for is to be a part of it. You see, basically what's going to happen if everything is in rapport, the only time an adjustment occurs is when universal force is converted to an innate force, and the adjustment can be made. So with our analytical skills, the best of our abilities, we're trying to make a universal force that is transitioned to an innate force. And you have to be in rapport with the person that you're taking care of. If you're out of rapport, that's when the person's not comfortable. There's tension there. There's apprehension. So when the person first comes to see me, you, whoever they're a little bit apprehensive. I tell them straight up, I cannot fully analyze your spine on the first visit, figure everything out, and earn your body's trust. The more often that you come in, the more comfortable you're going to get. We're going to do the best that we can every single day and place very gentle forces as intelligently as possible so your body can convert those to innate forces. However, you're going to be apprehensive, and it's going to take time. How long is it going to take? I have no idea. The more often that you come in, the more expedient the process can be. But I've got to see you for that to happen. Now, compassion is hugely important. But once again, we can't let it compromise honesty. So when somebody comes into our office, rapport has to be established if the adjustment is ever going to have a chance of happening. The chiropractor, and this is so important, the best we can be is a part of that. So we don't make the adjustment, once again, taking that pressure off those shoulders. So when somebody signs up in my office, I want everyone to have a great experience. I start everybody who comes in starts with a month of service. If it's one person, it's 120, and that includes children under the age of 17. If it's a family, like a husband, wife, whatever the case is, it's 175, and that includes the kids under 17. Sometimes people want to come in for the visit. I don't take care of people by the visit. That would put me in crisis. And chiropractic, and we'll go back to this, JJ, is like the gym. If you are a member of CrossFit, you're much better and stronger and more technically sound than you were a year ago because you made it a commitment. Much like a gym, chiropractic's not something you can do one time. You know, I've been in practice 23 years. My standard is extremely high. We at least start with a month. When you come in for the month, I want you to ask questions. I want you to enjoy coming in. I'm going to educate you and give you bits and pieces every time that you come in. And at the end of the month, if you see the value that this will add to your life, and you want a better habit and a step in a great direction that's going to have an impact on your whole life, because chiropractic is an investment with no downside. Sell that. There is no downside to the investment of chiropractic. I have a one-year program at $90 a month. $120 if the whole family comes in. It is a year commitment. There's no cancellation. When you know that you want a better quality of life, that's waiting for you. Put it on the back burner right now. Go in for this next month. So I don't really sell the year package. I sell chiropractic and the experience. And after that, if they come in at the end of the month and they're asking questions like, if I sign up for the year, when can I cancel? That's go another month without a contract. Pay another $120, go without the contract. If they're like, okay, can I fill out some paperwork now? That's a go ahead with this because we're on the same page. You know, now, does everybody sign up? Does everybody, no. There are people who come back, and they always come back. And maybe there are people I send to another chiropractor. You know, I got Howie right down the road. He worked with me for years, wonderful cat. And Howie does charge a per visit fee, and I love that. So if they're adamant to say, I just want to come in by the visit, okay? The consultation is free. I hand out Howie's card. I love building other chiropractic practices that are in the non-therapeutic model. And I hand them out, and Howie, you know, has a new person come in, and maybe Howie can establish better rapport than I can. Now, in building a practice, how long have you been in practice for?
6 years, 7
6
years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how about you?
10 years.
10 years. Awesome. You guys happy where you're at right now?
There's always room for growth.
I totally agree. Constant and never-ending improvement. And how about you?
No, not
Okay.
at all.
Are you ready for a change?
Oh, yeah?
You're ready for growth. You're hungry for growth and constantly getting better and letting the big mo get bigger, right?
Right.
Momentum? I'm with you.
So am I.
Yeah, dude, I know. I know where you are. And you're ready for change, right? Are you willing to make a change? All right, I want a little bit more than that because you know why people stay where they're at? I'm going to tell you something and you're going to be so thankful. People will stay where they're at, unhappy, because to get where they want to be requires them to be even more uncomfortable than where they're at right now. And even though where they want to go is way, way better, you got to get a little bit more uncomfortable. And if you're willing to do that, I'm willing to help you. If we're in the same model. Because I want you to be successful. If you're a non-therapeutic chiropractor, I probably want you to be more successful than you even want right now. If you're in the other model, I can't do a whole lot for you, but I can wish you luck. Okay? But if you're in the non-therapeutic model, I can tell you right now, we can change something. Small things, little things. Life's a game of inches. Would you all agree that right now, right here at this very moment, that every single one of us are where we're at in life because of the choices that we made? I would
Absolutely.
agree there too. So you would think very simply, oh, make better choices, have a better life, right? Why would one person choose to be a chiropractor and another person choose to get addicted to crystal meth? It doesn't make sense when you just look at it like that, right? Well, just make better choices or just say no. Because there's three things that go into our choices. Focus, physiology, and language. Or we can put it this way. What we focus on, the meaning that we give it, and the action that we take. See, let me tell you what you already know. Life ain't fair, and it never will be. So get over it. I can say that because I've taken lots of beatings, but I was never mad about it. Chiropractic is a wonderful profession, and I love it. But I'd be lying to you if I said it didn't beat the stew out of me. I'd be lying to you if I said, you know, it's been rough sometimes. But I've always been happy. Because if you're going to be a leader, you're going to be successful, you're going to be sincere, you're going to be happy, oh, guess what, guys? You got to be tough. And every one of us know this. People who maintain those qualities and don't change those qualities in spite of what they've been through are tough. So I focus on what can I do? There's going to be in your life, every single one of you, something that we call a primary question that you ask yourself all the time. And this question is going to shape how you look at the world. And how you look at the world is going to determine the decisions that you make. And the decisions that you make are going to turn into habits, and those habits are going to turn into your life. So, the questions. What can I learn from this? How can I be a better communicator? What's the lesson here? How is this going to make me stronger? What do I need to change to be better? Those are positive questions. Those are questions that champions ask themselves when they maybe just got their butt handed to them, or that weight came crashing down on your head when you was trying to do a snatch or a clean and jerk. What can I do better? Where's my form off? Is my body cooked? I do Olympic weightlifting, so I understand how...
I've seen the videos
Yes,
of you.
they, cool. And I really understand that it's a humbling thing, that sometimes it's just not working and you got to figure something out or you're going to get hurt. And that's life, man. And that's life. Here are destructive questions. Why is the world so unfair? Why does this happen to me? How can I be so stupid? Why doesn't anybody like me? Stupid stuff. But the
Where's that come from?
I grew up in
Adam
Boston.
Sandler?
Yeah, probably so. The bottom line is this. Your brain has a job. The conscious mind answers questions, whatever you ask it. You ask it bad questions, you're going to get bad answers. You ask it good questions, things are going to happen. And I can't tell you why. I was just fortunate that I was always able to ask good questions. And I was always able to see something good in every situation. Later on, studying these different books, movies, Tony Robbins, big fan of Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, Zig Ziglar. Anybody know Zig?
Mm-hmm.
He's from Mississippi, Yazoo City. Love that guy. Love that guy. In fact, I've missed the times that I had to hear him speak. He actually would come to Palmer, and I remember he actually wanted to be a chiropractor. What a great chiropractor he would have made. You know, he loved chiropractic. Yazoo City, Mississippi. Spawned people like, you know, Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn spawned people like Tony Robbins, you know, Brian Tracy. Powerful character. But the primary question, what do you ask yourself every day? And guess what? You can change that question because you ain't a victim. And if you don't like the situation you're in, you're going to change it. Because the alternative doesn't even make any sense. Not change it, stay where you're at. Let me tell you something. Go to the cemetery, and you're going to see tombstones. And on the tombstone, you're going to see the date a person was born and the date that they died. And that tiny little dash in between represents a person's life. What are you going to do with that? That tiny dash that's yours, it belongs to you. What are you going to do? The alternative A, stay where you're at and hang on to the bitter end. Option B, risk it. Do it. Live to your fullest potential. And if people laugh at you, so what? If people talk about you, so what? They're going to do it anyway. Who cares? But your biggest regrets will be the things that you didn't do. I can't live with that. Hey, I'm a great person to talk about, believe me. People talk about me all the time because it's a fantastic subject. Guarantee you. People laugh at me. I got no problem with that. Doesn't matter. Disassociate that from what you got to do. Because in the end, they don't really care. Neither should you. Life is a spectator sport, watching those doing it and living it. And you got to disassociate yourself from certain opinions that really shouldn't matter as much as they do. Why is it that that person that we don't like and doesn't like us, but yet we feel so obliged to try to be a positive influence on them or change their opinion for the better? Why do we do that as humans? Stop doing that. Be very selective of the people that you let in your life, because the truth of the matter is this. There is no greater influence in your life than the 5 people you hang out or talk with on a regular basis. You want to see where you're going to be? Look at those 5 people. want to hang out with unbelievably successful people. People won't always get you. People will laugh at you. People will be mad that you make too much money. People will be mad that you went on vacation. People will be mad that you're happy. People will be upset that you're so successful and good looking. Are you going to change? Forget that. And what are you changing for? Is it going to be rewarding if you change and dim your light for some reason that you think it's going to have a positive effect on other people who don't even care about you? Be very specific on who you hang out with. Now, me, I choose to put myself out there. Personally, and this is a personal note, chiropractic is bigger than me. Chiropractic is bigger than anybody I take care of. So I will only tell people the absolute truth of what they need. I will never compromise chiropractic 1 iota, 1 inch, because it's too important. And everybody benefits because of that. So why do I dress the way that I do? Because everywhere I go, I represent chiropractic. Everywhere I go, I represent a symbol of success that you can have as well. And I want you to have it, and that's why I'm here. Because I'm not here for everybody. I'm here for those who say, I want to change, and I want to change now, and I want to be better. I want to commit to constant and never-ending improvement. Because let me tell you, as you become more and more successful, you become more and more of a symbol of that success. Everything that I do, everything that I touch is a symbol. The cars that I drive, the offices that I have, they're all extremely nice. And I dress very, very nice. And I go everywhere. And I think Sid Williams was onto something, by the way, about this. Branding yourself in this way. This is how I chose to brand myself. And when you become a symbol of that success, then that success happens in relationships, in wealth, in opportunity, in travel, it's family, it's everywhere, that success. The more you become a symbol, you equally become a target. You cannot have one without the other. You see actors all the time, oh, the fame is so hard, and the tabloids, and this, that, and hey, man, you signed up for it. Problem was, no one told you about it. You cannot have one without the other. So yes, I'm going to be a target. I took a stand in a movement that was almost gone. I mean, gone. The non-therapeutic model was almost gone. The people left the FSCO to go back to the beginning of the story, and they were disgruntled. I still hung out with Reggie. We still spoke, but nobody wanted to start another organization. They were tired of fighting. I mean, we would go every so many months to a board meeting, and the lines were drawn, and we were fighting. So when all these people left, Osteen and Bassano and Sasso, I mean, they're like, man, we're done with the fighting. I said, well, I'm going to try to start another organization. Because non-therapeutic chiropractic needs another organization. One, for the survival of the movement. Second, for the credibility of a national group. And third, to learn and have fellowship. Needed that. Absolutely needed that. 10 years it took me. 10 years. Was I laughed at? Was I a target? I mean, here I am. People say, you know, Mark, you talk a lot about this whole debt thing. You know, you're over there, you're this non-therapeutic chiropractor, and you have over $250,000 in debt just on your credit cards alone. Because there was nobody doing it. I had to go out. I paid my expense everywhere that I went. And then when I saw that there's no other place that you can learn it, I bought another office, and I renovated the office so a chiropractor could live and work and learn this model. And then the more that I spoke, yes, people began to have more opinions of me, and I, you know, was talked about, and sometimes not so flowery, and sometimes really flowery, but both happen because you're a symbol and a target, and you've got to be able to deal with both. Being successful in the practice, because guess what, you're going to be out, and you're going to be doing stuff, and now when I go somewhere, and maybe I'm in my workout clothes, and I run by the bank, I think twice sometimes, do I want to be seen this way? And sometimes I say, okay, I got to be seen this way, but a lot of times I don't. I want to be seen as I am right now, for what I represent. I remember when I was in college, and I was a part of a fraternity named Delta Sigma Chi Fraternity at Palmer College. There was this cat named Don Eldridge. He was the president of this college, and every time I saw this guy, he was in a suit. And I thought there was just something magical about that. Every time I saw Sid Williams, he was always in a suit. He always looked good. And let me tell you something. If you've never met Sid Williams, he had charisma. He had a charm about him that you wanted to be around. You would give him money to be in his company People would get upset. Oh, Sid's the highest paid president of any college in the world. $900-something thousand. Second highest paid president is the president of Harvard. Third highest paid person, because she wasn't even a president, was Sid's wife, okay? Of all the colleges in the world. But you know what? Hats off to Sid. He built a culture that loved to give him money. And quite frankly...
I'll pay for that.
Yes, you did. Good job, buddy. He did make people's lives better. He did give people more confidence. Maybe he didn't teach chiropractic in its purity with congruence, but he helped people feel better about themselves, tap into their own resources, and become the best that they could be at that time. He gave people self-worth. So I dig that. I get that. Doesn't matter if I agree with him or not. The man did some good things. And people wanted to give him a lot of money for that. And what did Sid do with that money? He represented it well. As the president of Life College, I will dress nice, I will drive beautiful cars, and I will be a class act to everywhere I go in Atlanta, and people will recognize me as the face of chiropractic and Life University. And I like that. That's something I learned from Sid Williams and Guy Reekman. If you ever watch Guy Reekman, he always has a great suit, and he always stands here and he talks, and he looks really good doing it. You know, Guy knows the non-therapeutic model. I think his biggest concern was he really couldn't make a living at it. Well, guess what? I'm here to show you how. And I want you to know that what I have, you can have it too. But you've got to have the convictions that I have. You've got to understand the detrimental effects of a vertebral subluxation and the importance of facilitating that correction. And then you've got to understand that anything else dilutes that purpose, and it's unacceptable. People will want it, but you've got to make it to where they'll desire it more. You've got to package it in a way that's going to be more appealing. You've got to learn how to sell it. I don't want to do anything else. And I've seen good chiropractors not be able to sell it, not be able to make the living that they should make, not be able to have nice things. And I think every one of you should have nice things, because there is no greater service that you could be doing of a fabulous living. Take that vacation, drive that car, have that home, give to that church, give to your community and back to your profession. Give, 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 give. You can't do that if you don't have any money. I want to do more. I still don't have $1 million that I'm working with yet. 5 years, and I will. 5 years, and I will have $1 million that I'm working at. And how did I make it? Through chiropractic. In spite of what I did through. You gotta give, you gotta give, you gotta give. And you've got to know your purpose. You've got to know how you're going to help people. And you've got to package it in a way that you're going to sell them. It's got to be with confidence. And it doesn't have to be loud. Because it can be, look, I've got something that you need. And if you let me, I'm going to change your life, and we're going to have a positive impact that you can't even imagine. Because chiropractic is the one investment that has no downside. If you let me, I'll show you how. There are things going on right now. Nonverbal communication. I know what you need. The only question is, do you want to live a better life? Yes. That's right. And you can feel that confidence. If I did this, you know, you really need to be seeing a chiropractor. I mean, I could do it. I mean, you're going to have to pay for it. Yeah, and I know that's rough. And you're going to have to come in, and that's not convenient. Do you feel good about anything right now that I'm saying? No. That's called cognitive dissonance. You see, when we communicate, there are 3 things that have to happen. 7% is through words. 38% is through tone. And 55% is through body language. If my heart's even with your heart, if my hands are open, if everywhere where you can see me, and I'm looking at you in your eye, and I lean in every once in a while when you're talking, not only do you feel comfortable, you feel secure and even charmed. But if I'm looking away, looking down, you have something that's called cognitive dissonance. That means one of those 3 things, or more than one, doesn't line up. And you feel very uncomfortable and you want to leave. You want to get out. You talked about your girlfriend and her parents having that experience going to another professional, and they wanted to get out because they didn't feel good about it. But you can make people feel good because you're a sincere guy. I tell you that when you walk into the room. I could feel that. And you're a guy who wants to help people even more. I could feel that too. You're here and you travel this distance because you want to learn. I can feel that from when you came in here. And that's why I'm here. Because I want you to be successful. The only question is, and only you answer this, are you willing to make the change? And is this even the change that you want to make? And that's going to be up to you. Because I don't push anybody to be in a non-therapeutic model. But if this is where you decide to go, you're in the right place, and we can help you. Life is not going to be fair. Never will be. Don't focus on it. Doesn't even matter. I don't want it to be fair. Do you know we live in a country that has more opportunity than in the history of the world? The ladder of success in this country is unprecedented. We're the only country in the world that you can make money. Think about that term. We've all used it. I can make more money. You see, in other countries and other times, the only way for you to gain wealth was to take it from somebody else. So for you to be wealthy, you had to go and take it from somebody else. Not in America. We can create our own wealth. And the more wealth I create, the more wealth you create. I like that. The more wealth you create. If we're hanging out with each other and we're creating more wealth, that creates a cycle. And there's thousands of cycles in the universe. But if you're hanging out with people, every day sucks, and there's never anything good, and the economy's bad, and people are going to rip you off, you're going to find plenty of that. But you know what? If you're hanging out with people, it's like, you know what? There's a lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot of great things happening. There's a lot of potential. And in our country, the ladder for that success is unlike any time before. So what you focus on is what you're going to get. Whatever you focus on. You want to focus on life not being fair? You're going to find that everywhere. You want to focus on opportunity? You're going to find that everywhere. There was a passage in the Bible, and I can't even remember where, but there's a person entering into a town. There's a guy standing at the wall, sitting there, and the guy asked the person, "What are the people like here?" The guy said, "Well, what were they like where you came from?" They were very rude and mean and unpleasant. He said, "Oh, you're going to find a lot of that here." He's like, "Okay." So about a couple hours later, a woman comes by. She says, "Excuse me, what are the people like here?" And he says, "Well, what were they like where you came from?" They were nice, and they were friendly, and they were cordial, and they were giving, loving people." Well, that's great. You're going to find a lot of that here. In the end, you find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yes. People who have tons of money tend to always have tons of money. They see it, it comes to them, and the world benefits. People who stay in poverty are practicing the laws of poverty. Everything's a law. What does that mean? There's a lot of success. There's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of wealth. If you want to be poor, you have to do certain things to stay poor. You have to. You have to have a mindset of a victim. You have to have the vision of a clam. You have to realize there's no opportunity out there. Everyone's out to get you, and the world is always bad, and everyone's bad, and you can't trust anybody, and everything is not your fault, and you cannot do anything on your own, and until the government does this or does that, or this person's in office, you will always be on the bottom. That is the mentality of poverty. If you want to be poor, you have to stay in that mentality. If you want to be wealthy, you've got to change and practice the law of, I'm responsible for every action. I choose my destiny. I can be anything I want. I can have anything I want. I have potential, and I'm surrounded by opportunity, and I have skills, and I can develop myself, and there is nothing that I can't accomplish. That is the law of wealth. You cannot be unhappy and unsuccessful with that attitude. You just can't be. And the choice is yours. What do you want to practice? How do you want to practice? What is the most important thing about a goal?
Writing it down.
Okay, but what's the most
Looking at it and
okay.
focusing on it.
All right, and then what else?
Deadline.
Devising a plan.
Yeah.
Has to have a deadline.
Yeah, okay. And then what?
Strategy.
Okay, and then what?
Implementation.
Do what?
Implementation.
And then what? What if you achieve it? Is that the most important thing, achieving it?
Making a new goal.
Wow.
Okay, what's the most important thing?
Stepping towards
Having
it.
one?
Okay, but why?
Drive.
Okay, but what else?
Purpose.
I'm with
Moving
you.
forward.
Moving forward, so elaborate on that.
Growth.
Okay, growth. The most important thing about having a goal, excellent. Somewhat achieving it, but the most important thing is what happens to you. The most important thing about any goal is what happens to you. Now, this is going to be something that I really want you all to think about. If your goal, say, was to make $1 million, just to say. You make $1 million, and now you know how somebody who has $1 million behaves. A chiropractor that sees 100 people a day. How do they behave? How do they act? What do they look like? And follow that. See, we have mirror neurons, as you know, and those mirror neurons are constantly going. We mirror everything. Everything in our life, that growing up, people that we're around, we emulate, because that's how our neurons work. And now we talk about something else. Once you know what it takes to see 100 people a day, or to have $1 million, you can do that anywhere. You can do that anywhere, anytime you want. You put me anywhere in the world and I will build a huge practice. You know, be a little bit more challenging if I didn't speak the language, but you can put me anywhere and I will have a thriving practice. Why is that? The value that I bring to the market. Your success is directly determined by the value that you are able to bring to the market. You can lose the clothes on your back, the money in your bank, your vehicles, and everything you have. But if you have the earning potential based on the value that you have from accomplishing all those goals, you will always be fine and you will get it back and more. It's that simple. I could be successful anywhere, and I have been. I have practiced in an office that was being renovated with literally no floors and people walking on 2x6s to get to my table. I have practiced in a gym where I've had an office that was 5 feet by 10 feet and a table. And I've been successful everywhere. And I will continue to do that because of the value that I bring. I can sell anybody on chiropractic as long as they're in a logical mind. But keep this in mind too, people have to want to be sold, and people do. And how do I sell them? Based on the truth. Taking care of them like they're my own family. Highest quality standard, unbelievable price. I know what I have is unbelievable. I am so convinced that I think it's absolutely crazy for somebody not to start with me. You give me people like me, we have a practice, we could be successful anyway. We have a practice, put us anywhere on the planet, we'll be successful. We were successful in an office together in Mississippi. We're on the same page, you do everything that I say, and then I unleash you, and then after all that experience, now what you have is confidence and know-how, value, boom. And you could be practicing this way now, I just don't know. I just don't know. You may be right in this model, and boom, you just need that one little kickstart, that one little fire. And one of my gifts, we all have gifts, one of my gifts is the gifts of discernment. I recognize people's qualities and strong points, and I bring them out here. People will pay lots of money just to have me in their company because I make you better. And this is something I never understood. Sometimes chiropractors, strange crew, they have an issue paying for stuff. If there's a consultation group or if there's a person who has a lot of information and they're going to help you be better and they're going to help you make more money and give a better quality product, why shouldn't you pay them? And if they're not going to do that, don't pay them. But you know, people work for me. Right now I got people working for me. They're fixing up my office, they fix my cars, they fix my computers. I want to pay them. I want to pay them before they ask me because I want their return business and I want to get paid for what I do. I want you to get paid for what you do. And if somebody's going to make your life better, that's a good thing. And if they're not going to make your life better, you have got no time to give. You've got too many other things. Because here's the great thing about our country. We can make more money. You can make more money. Do you want to make $1 million?
I do.
Oh, great. How much is $1 million per month? I know it's a trick question. See, I think about this because I want to make it. It's $87,000 a month. I know you're pointing at Jen because she's good with the numbers.
I was gonna say $12 million a year.
Yeah. $87,000 a month is $1 million. If you invest that $1 million, just give me $1 million. In fact, you give me $790, and just from the investment alone, I can make over 72 grand a year, doing nothing. That's invested. Tony Robbins, Money Mastery. It's a great book. Get it, read it. It will help you out. Bottom line, value that you bring and the confidence that you bring. Now, personally, I'd like to open up with whatever you're comfortable with. Questions about your practice, questions about my practice or my life. I'm pretty transparent, so I'll answer your questions. And I'm glad to do that. And I have made mistakes that have cost me thousands of dollars I would be glad to share them with you. And I've made mistakes that have made me hundreds of thousands of dollars, so I will share that with you too. And thank you for your time. Thank you guys for coming out tonight.
Thank you
And
so
thank you
much.
for your office tonight, Jen. Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you.